Start. Oo. Okay.
Good evening. Before we officially start, let's see you are MCs for today's and will be with us during the entire webinar. Please help me welcome Mr. Thompson Patrick and Ms. Kabahar Hazel.
Thank you, Mr. Tapao. Good evening, everyone. I am Patrick Samson, one of your hosts for this webinar, and I have here with me today my funny yet shy type partner, Ms. Kabahar Hazel. Hazel.
Good evening once again, everyone. I am Kawohar Hazel, and I will be Mr. Samson's
With
partner for today's webinar. Before we officially start, let us have our
Ira,
opening prayer with a song, followed by the national
tapos
anthem.
gawat daw. Pasal
Open our minds for us to think wisely. Put us with understanding, cooperation, and peace in fulfilling our responsibilities. Open our hearts so that we may receive your everlasting love, and open our spirit so that we may know that you are with us all throughout the day. We ask all this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiliw, pero sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng magiting,
So webinar guidelines. For the webinar guidelines, just a little housekeeping before we get started. So here's the webinar guidelines. First, be respectful to the speaker and co-participants. Second, keep your mic on mute during the webinar session to avoid unnecessary noise. If you have if you have any questions during the presentation, please type into the chat box. We will bring them up at the end during the Q&A. Fourth, please use your full name and email address in answering the post-webinar evaluation. Certificates will be emailed to validated participants. Now I will hand you to Miss Hazel Kabahar. Hazel.
Thank you for that, partner. To officially welcome everyone this evening, may I have Mr. Tapao for the opening remarks.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here with us and sparing your time for this day's event. It is my pleasure to welcome all the participants for today's webinar with the topic Marketing Breakthrough, Fright to Fight, with the theme Converting Your Organization into Fearless Warriors in Times of Crisis.
Thank you, Mr. Tapao. Let us now move on to the rationale or an outline what to expect during this night's webinar. Please join us in welcoming Mr. Davao. Mr. Davao.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christopher Davao, and I'm here to present our rationale. Oh, by the way, I'm really sorry I forgot to put our quote, but I remember thank God I memorized it. Here's my quote. Fear has two meanings. But fear has two meanings. Face everything and rise, or forget everything and run. It's your choice. As our subject right today is about how we're gonna face our crisis. So for me, I have to choose. You should always choose face what's right, and we should always rise as we all don't know what's gonna happen if we're gonna face. Keep on trying, so that you can someday achieve what's for us. Being fearless is not wrong. Being afraid is not wrong, also wrong. But being afraid all the time is really wrong. It's okay to get scared sometimes, but it's never okay to be scared all the time. Being fearless can put you to something, can put you to places. Like, for example, being fearless about jumping a cliff with a tie on it. Without facing your fears, it can grow you as a person, diba? So in facing about our crisis, we can always choose to be a better person, diba? So that's why. Sorry, that's why. That's all.
Thank you for that, Mr. Davao. May I now request Mr. Discartin to introduce our speaker for tonight's webinar? Mr. Discartin. I think Mr. Discartin has a problem of connectivity. So let me introduce you this evening. So we are pleased to welcome Ms. Beatrice Claudine Alfar Ivardoni, a very special guest. She is Chief Operating Officer of Republic Group of Companies. She a TEDx speaker and a creative communicator. And today, she will be sharing with us her expertise and opinions With that, I ask you to give your full attention to Miss Everdoni. Without further ado, let's welcome our speaker, Miss Beatrice Everdoni. A round of applause, please.
Hi everyone, good evening.
Good
So
evening.
do I share my screen now? Patrick, can I share my screen now?
Yes.
All right, let me first share my screen before I officially start my talk. Okay, one moment. Right. Okay, so before I formally begin, my first question is, can you listen to me audibly? Is my voice okay? Can I get a thumbs up if you hear my voice clearly? Okay, that's good. Second is, do you see my screen? Thumbs up if you do. Do you guys see my screen? All right, there you have it. So, good evening, everyone. It's 2021, and I can't believe I'm still asking those questions. Do you hear me properly? Can you see my screen? Because if I had it my way, I would have loved to meet all of you physically and be able to share this talk with you. But of course, safety and the health of everybody is our priority. So I'm glad to be doing this via Zoom this evening. So I'd like to extend my thank you to Hazel and the rest of the team for thinking of me and for inviting me to share the different mindsets that we have developed as a company, Republic Group of Companies, that turned Fright into Flight, especially during the midst of a crisis. Before I officially start my talk, I would like to request everybody to please make use of the chat section. Be as interactive as possible. I don't want this to be too formal. So if you have comments, if you have questions, or if you have anything that you'd like to share, or if mo agree mo na po, please go ahead and put it in the comment section or in the chat section if there's anything that you'd like to say. Okay, so let's begin. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Bea Alfar Evardone. I am the Chief Operating Officer, the Group Chief Operating Officer and Creative Strategist of the Republic Group of Companies. We're basically a company that focuses on digital media and digital advertising. I'll talk more about that later. But at the same time, I am the current curator of the Global Shapers Community Cebu Hub. We are the youth arm of the World Economic Forum. I am the founding board of director and executive secretary of the Creator and Influencer Council of the Philippines. So we are a newly established organization that aims to elevate digital content creation. So I work with Erwan Yusaf, Carlo Ople, Nino Guerrero, Jaco De Leon in the board to create different strategies and standards for the industry. But at the same time, I'm also teaching. So I'm a teacher at the St. Teresa's College Cebu. I teach digital advertising and social media campaigns. I'm a TEDx speaker, and lastly, I'm a proud non-showbiz wife of Kim Namjoon of BTS. I'm part of the BTS army. Shameless. It's one of the quirks and the things that I have been interested in during the pandemic. So I know a lot of us became plantitos, plantitas, na yung mga nahimog instant chefs during the pandemic. I became a K-pop fan. So basically, I'm a proud member of the BTS army, and I'm a mother to a really cute dog named Matcha. So basically, that's me. That's what I do. And let me talk to you about what we do in the company. So again, as I mentioned, we run a company called the Republic Group of Companies. We are basically a full-service digital transformation agency here in Vismin. And our goal really as a company is to be able to future-proof the Philippines. And we're able to do that by sparking digital transformation in classrooms, communities, and different companies. So that's what we do. We basically are also a team of creative rebels. What we call ourselves, why we call ourselves creative rebels? Because we are basically wired to think differently. We're a weird bunch, but we basically get the work done. So I'll talk more about that later. And we are the makers of some brands that you're probably familiar with. We are the makers of Buy TV, a premier Bisaya entertainment channel on Facebook. We run shows like Laisho Kadi, Himalaya, Dare David. So if you know these faces in Alam Garcia, we basically produce those shows. We are also the leading digital talent agency in Visayas and Mindanao. So we run Buy Social. We currently have more than 200 plus content creators and influencers in our network. So some of the faces you see, like Davao Conyo, Malaya Macaraeg, David Gua, Alam Garcia, are some of the talents that we manage. And lastly, we are the makers of Bicon Infest. So it is the largest gathering of creators and influencers in the Philippines. And way back in 2019, we brought in 72 creators from Manila, Sina Erwan, Mimiya, Mikey Bustos, Will Dasovich, Kim Boy, basically really good friends in the industry. We brought them here for a fan festival. So if there are mga fans din ni Erwan, ni Mimi, and whatever, so they're really nice people. And we were still able to do the same thing. In 2020, we mounted Bicon Infest digital. So it was a space invasion. And so we do a lot of things. So these are just a few of the things that we do over at Republic Group of Companies. And every time we are able to share our capabilities to different people, especially to those who are in Luzon, may mga tanong na ganito. Really? May ganito talaga sa Cebu? There's a digital agency in Cebu that does this. There are content creators in Cebu. May mga influencers pala sa Cebu. So there are people, you know, asking na, grabe, ang dami niyong ginagawa sa Vismin, hindi namin alam. And even I sometimes become super surprised and amazed na, oo nga no, magbitaw no, daghan gid may gibuhat no. Like even I amaze myself that we are able to accomplish all these things. And every time I ask myself the question how we did it, I then remember that I have a solid team of creative rebels. Basically, a group of super talented, super dedicated people who contribute to every single thing that we put out there. So we basically are a bunch that are always there for each other. And compared to a lot of digital agencies in Visayas and Mindanao, we think differently. We really think differently to the point nga, kung imo ming dadon og mall, mga tumig-ayala, o wow, kay mi magkuyog kay weird gid mi nga bunch. So we basically are very different people. And I think the biggest reason why we have a different mindset is because of a very strong and unmatched culture. So what does that mean? We have a strong culture of dedication to our craft, a strong culture of, you know, being open and being there for each other all the time. When you go to our office, there are dogs. When you come to their office, instead of serving you coffee, we also serve you wine and drinks and gin. We drink in the office. We basically are not your conventional company, basically. But at the end of the day, what makes us really strong is our bond and love and care for each other as a team. So we're extremely clingy to each other. So on a regular day, this is how the office looks like. After work, we sometimes dance. If kailan mo ni Ivan, he's our senior project manager now, he's also from USJR. We dance, we play games. We love spending time with each other, basically. And even outside work, we go out, we support each other's events. If you guys know Vincent Echo, if you guys know CP at Times, if you guys know The Sundown. So we basically have a lot of talented musicians also in our group. So we go out, we watch their gigs, we watch their events. And this is a group of girls from my team na nagbudots in the middle of a dance floor. So we're basically super clingy and super supportive of each other. And I believe that it has been our greatest strength as a company because we're always there for each other. We support each other and we love each other like family. So can you imagine what we felt when this happened? In March 2020, when the government announced that there is going to be a lockdown in the entire Cebu province because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, I share the same sentiment with a lot of business leaders in Cebu that at the end of the day, the health and safety of our team and employees would always come first. So we made a decision to work from home. And so even if the lockdown in Cebu started in March 27, 2020. At March 12 or on March 12, 2020, we already implemented the work from home setup. So we sent our business continuity plan to our family or to our clients. And we basically started working from home. And to be honest, it was a very heartbreaking decision to make because number one, again, our strength as a team, we're able to accomplish so many things because of our dynamics together. But at the same time, We were in the midst of a pandemic. We were facing an invisible enemy, the virus. And we, to be honest, we did not know how to go about it. And so even if, the fear of not being with our team was there was a bigger fear. The bigger fear is, what's next? What's going to happen? We are in the middle of a pandemic. What impact will it make on our team, on our clients, on ourselves, in the community in general? And when will this end, basically? So a lot of questions like this were bombarding my mind and the mind of our management committee. So we talked from time to time. We asked ourselves, "Kano sa ani mahitabo?" And honestly, there were a lot of nights when I couldn't sleep, because what's really running in my mind is, will we be able to continue supporting the lives of our 70 employees in this pandemic? Again, we are a very clingy team. We love ourselves. We love each other so much. And I was super afraid. My biggest fear was to be able to make an announcement that we were going to lay people off, that we're going to have salary cuts, that we will have to ask you to shorten your working hours so we wouldn't have to pay you full time. That was our biggest fear. That was something that we were super afraid to do, because again, being able to, it was news back then, last year, na daghan na kayo nag-cut off sila mga people, daghan na kayo nawagtangan ng trabaho. And so if that happens to my team, to our team, it feels like namatyan po family member, to be honest. And we at the management committee were in agreement that we're never going to let that happen. But so at that time, March 2020, we were all frightened. We were all afraid. We were all uncertain. Kanus ama ni mahuman. Confident kaayo ko pag March na, amazing bitaw ang science today. Grabe na bitaw ang world today. Mahuman na siya by July. So mabalik kami sa office by July. Karon wala. April 2021, New Year na lang, wala gyapon mi nabalik. So we were all frightened. We all lived in fear. And so that was March 2020. But surprise, today it's April 2021. And how do I feel? I feel empowered. I feel more confident, and I feel super proud, because, even if we lived in so much fear just a year ago, so many things happened. And the reason why I am feeling proud and empowered today is because we were able to turn fright into flight. We were all able to put ourselves together, put ourselves in the same boat, and literally rode together towards achieving these things. In just 2020, we were able to establish 3 business units. We're able to produce 8 new live shows that we're running regularly. We're able to launch 3 new media channels. We're able to establish 2 new learning divisions. And lastly, we're able to produce more than 500 live shows. And because of all of these accomplishments that we did as a team, we were able to experience 37% increase in our revenue compared to 2019. Yes, we earned so much more in 2020 compared to 2019. We have a 100% employee retention, which means we did not lay anyone off. Fortunately, I did not have to make that announcement. We even hired 18 new employees. And lastly, we're able to add 200 creators in our network. We literally started with just 4 in April 2020. And right now, we're at 200. So how did we do it? How were we able to turn something impossible into a reality? We were able to do it because it really just starts with having the right mindset. If you have the right mindset over a crisis, if you have the right mindset over a challenge, you will be able to accomplish anything. And this evening rather, I'd be sharing with you the different mindsets that our team had that made us win in 2020. And I'll start with the basics. The first mindset that we carried out in 2020 is that your core is your compass. Use it to guide your direction. What does this mean? When you are lost, when you're lost in the middle of a forest and you literally do not know where to go, what to do, way back, people use the compass to steer their direction. So imagine the entire pandemic, the crisis, as a big, big forest, and you're there stuck in the middle of the forest and you do not know where to go. You need a compass, right? You need a compass that will direct you and lead you where you want to go. And so your core becomes your compass. Your core should be the one that guides you to the right direction. What is a core, right? You might be wondering, what's a core? Core, for you to determine what your core is, you basically have to answer these two questions. First is your purpose. Why do we exist? Ngano naamon ta dinhi? Ngano na may RGC? And second is, what are our values? So if you are able to answer these two questions, then you have your core. And your core will become your guide towards navigating the pandemic. So first, the management committee and the leaders, we all gathered together and we tried to answer the question. Question number one, why do we exist? And we were all in unison in answering, we are here, we exist because we want to future-proof the Philippines. And now more than ever, when all the businesses have no choice but to be available in digital platforms, we have to equip them with the right mindset, with the right set of skills to be able to make them ready in the digital world. And so what we did was we tried to take a look at the different business units we have and see where we can future-proof our clients, where we can help our clients in this transition to digital. So we have two business units. First is Creative Republic, which is basically our social media and digital advertising agency, and of course, By TV, which is our media channel. Let's start with Creative Republic. So with Creative Republic, we told ourselves and we put it upon ourselves that, you know what, we exist because we are here to hold our clients' hands in the shift to digital. So ang mga clients namo before who were comfortable with not having e-commerce, our clients before that were comfortable with just putting social media ads and not really driving them to purchase in the website, we really tried to hold their hands and make them realize the need, the urgent need to be able to shift. So without our clients asking for it, what we did was we created a new normal campaign for all, and I say it for all of our clients. We have more than 20 clients that we are servicing. And so we made a new normal campaign for them. This is a series of strategies that they can use to make themselves relevant in the situation, to make them run campaigns that are relevant, sensitive, and at the same time helpful for them to survive in this business. So that's what we did for Creative Republic. And at the same time, we really needed to keep educating the market about the different digital trends and how to survive in this pandemic. Because we as a company had access to thought leaders and digital tools, we gathered them together and we ran different campaigns and talks that will educate our clients and the general public about surviving this pandemic. And so we did Creative Hour in the month of May last year. We talked about the creative process. We talked about relationship building, social media responsibility, making podcasts, photo manipulation, and basically different skills that you can learn to be able to survive this pandemic. We also invited people from literally all over the world. Donald Lim is from Manila. Erwin Valencia is from New York. We invited them to give a talk to educate the Visayas on how to survive the pandemic. And while we were fulfilled being able to do these things, what really made us happy is the feedback and comments from our clients. Our clients telling us, thank you RGC for making this transition to digital easy for us. So this is Provincial Director Nanette Arbon of DTI. So we help the government, DTI, run live shows and make their social media better. This is Christine Litanhua. She's one of our avid webinars. So they thanked us for the free webinars we gave them during the pandemic. So basically, we knew and understood that as Creative Republic, our role is to hold the hands of our clients. And so we did. For By TV naman, we were a bit hesitant to post entertaining shows during the pandemic because kay nung dumo sa una daghan kayo magsigi cancel, daghan kayo magsigi call out because unsa man na oy ga COVID ang tibok kalibutan niya nagsigi ra kagyaga ka insensitive ba ani nga content creator and influencer, dili man siya tone deaf siya sa reality that's happening in the pandemic. And so we were at the crossroads that I think people want to listen to just news. People want to listen to information about COVID. But then some members of my team were saying that, Miss Bay, you know what? The need to be informed is just as important as the need to be entertained. People are stuck at home. They cannot just listen to news all the time, especially when the news that you see online are all negative. And so, you know what, there is a need for us to be able to contribute to the good mental health of our target audience. And so our story became, By TV is here to educate and entertain the Bisaya market. These shows that you see, the logos of the shows that you see right now, Oh My Gugma, Maya Cooks, Miss Yuga, these shows did not exist before the pandemic. So these shows were literally created from scratch to be able to paint a smile on the faces of the Bisaya market. So, Oh My Gugma, mer siya Papa Joe, but online siya. So, katong mga naay problema sa heart, katong ganahan mo share silang mga kasakit, gave their comments, nagtawag-tawag sila. Maya Cooks, di ba? A lot of us like to cook during the pandemic. It's a recipe show with Malaya Makaraeg. Miss Yuga is the first digital teleserye in Bisaya nga si Dodong Dave Carante and Malaya Makaraeg, Nightcap by Hannah Live. Pasingot with Rigel was an exercise show. Verified was about verifying information because palabi gid ang fake news karon. So we really took it upon ourselves that, you know what, we have to continue contributing to the mental health of our people and our audiences. So let's create these shows. And so we continued to create content on a regular basis. And not only were we able to paint smiles on the faces of our audience, but we were also able to continue paying our talents. We were able to attract advertisers. We were able to attract brands to collaborate with us. So at the end of the day, we started earning because of the shows we're producing, and we were able to contribute to the revenue of our company. And so even if that was already fulfilling for us, nakatabang mi sa mga content creators nga wala na kaayo trabaho, what really made us happy are these messages that we receive from our audiences from time to time. So we have si Joseph telling us that, you know, in this pandemic, struggle is real, anxiety starts to kick in, funds start to run out, starting to develop onset hypochondriasis or the excessive fear of getting sick. By TV ra gyud ang rason ngano nakakope ko. And then one of them were saying na dako kayo gahap ang By TV, especially nowadays. You guys don't only entertain us, but we've learned lots of things from you. Unya, as a super stressed mom, juggling work and making sure the household is upright, kapoy gid kaayo, wala na ko time for myself. Murag every day I'm running, working in Manila, mingaw na kayo ko sa Cebu. Thank you By TV for the safe space. Everyone is yearning for connection now more than ever. Thanks for providing this. So all of these messages from our audiences really make us feel now we're on the right track. We're living out our story. So we are future-proofing the Philippines because of this. And so we continue doing it. The next question we needed to answer to determine our core is that, what are our values? What are the things that allow us to keep going? And for RGC, it's teamwork, it's lifelong learning, and it's fearless building and breaking. So let me break it down. So first, teamwork. As I mentioned, we are a very, very clingy team, and we're only able to accomplish many, many things in By TV, not because of me, not because of one person, because of us collectively working together to make things happen. And because we are unable to see each other anymore, we had to try to live out our culture even if it was online. So, you know, sa una, namin sa office, we love taking candid photos of each other. Kaya, di ba, yaga-yagaon, may mga tao, pero serious good mi ha, in real life. Kanang, we take photos of each other, candid photos, and now that we're online, we took screenshots of everybody's faces. So this is what happened, di ba? Hashtag digital transformation gihapon. Make might be familiar, or lessons to some of you. So basically, we tried to live out the culture of being fun, of being quirky, still online. And then sa una, kusog kami magkanta-kanta sa office. So we have one person that plays music. It's sometimes Ariana Grande, Ben and Ben, BTS, but then we couldn't do that anymore physically. And so we all went to Discord, and then kami magpatukar ang mga kanta together, magkanta-kanta mi and everything else. And apart from that, we did so many things to make sure that the team is still intact. So usahay mag-inuman mi session, We have trivia nights. We play games together, even if it's just online. Of course, we also have weekly check-ins. How was your week? What are your wins and challenges? How can we pray for you this week? So these are the things that we still continue to practice. And at the end of the day, even if it's digital, we really try to make sure that we still have each other's backs and we're still able to carry out our culture of love and care for each other. And because of that, we are continuously pushing for teamwork as one of our values. Second value is lifelong learning. So we need to keep learning now more than ever, especially because everybody's on digital. So before the pandemic, we loved sending our team to different learning sessions to be better in their crafts. But even if the pandemic na, we gave them access to different events like AdWorld. This is DigiCon, where I was one of the moderators and panelists, and we sent them to Graphica Manila. And so we kept learning because you know what, at the end of the day, digital is always evolving. So if dili ka mo keep up, maunhan gid ka. So we kept learning and learning and learning. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you learn if you don't pass it on. So what we learn, we try to pass it on forward and mount our own learning events as well. So we mount events that are open to the public. So if you guys know Inka, I love her so much. She's a good friend. She's gonna be talking to us on May 15th. So if you guys want to join the Zoom room, send me a message. I'll put you in the Zoom room. So we do lots of learning sessions for everybody as well. So lifelong learning doesn't just stop in the company. We try to also educate the people outside our network, because for us to digitally transform the Philippines, kailangan dili na kami ang nakasabot what digital transformation is. We want to future-proof the rest of the Philippines. We have to educate the rest of the Philippines. And so this is what we do. And lastly, the mindset of fearless building and breaking. What does this mean? Building and breaking. It means to just do it. Okay, just do it. If you have an idea, try it, do it. You'll never know if it works if you're overthinking. So what does this mean for our company? We're the type of people, no matter how creative, no matter how brilliant and amazing your idea is, we're not in love with our idea, because we know that this industry that we're in, it continuously evolves. So we'll have to let go and break the idea of ours in no time. And so because we're always building and breaking, we're able to establish a company called Events Republic. So diba, nagsigimig live show sa Bay TV. And so because we're always doing live shows, we try to experiment. Now, you know what? Right now, there are no more on-ground events. So kato mga events nga, PR events, mga events nga, mga talks, mga game shows, they're not anymore on ground and they're taking it online. How do we make ourselves relevant? How do we service these kinds of clients? And so we learned and we built Events Republic. There was a lot of breaking in the middle. So sa una, ingani una mo, didi siya mo work. So experiment again. Ingani siya nga style, didi mo work, experiment again. So it's always build and break, build and break, build and break. So because of that, we're able to establish Events Republic. And again, as I mentioned kanina, we were able to run more than 500 live shows. As you can see, this is Cebu Pacific, this is CICP. And apart from creating Events Republic, this is one of the most heartbreaking building and breaking that we needed to do. So this is how our office looks like pre-pandemic. And right now, this is how it looks like. We literally had to break it down and make it look like make it a studio. So this is our office now. We are now a studio because we see the need for live events and the need to shoot events. So since we're not in the office anymore, we turned our office into a studio, and this is how it looks like now. This was literally yesterday when we had a live event with Unilever, and this is how it looks like now. And at the end of the day, because of our fearless building and breaking, we're able to help many clients again in their live events. So a lot of people are telling us that many thanks to RGC, it was great. Guys, seriously, you are pros in this. I've been a speaker for a couple of webinars, and this group's the most organized. So we haven't reached this level if we weren't building and breaking. Kung komportable lang ni sa kani, okay rin siya, then we never would have improved. We never would have gotten these feedback from our clients. So again, never be afraid to build and break. That's a mindset you must always carry out, especially in a crisis. Next, the next mindset, now that you have determined your core, now that you know that what your core is, your purpose is, what your values are, and it sets you to the right direction, the second mindset that you must carry is do more of what is expected of you, even when you're allowed to do less. What does this mean? We are in a pandemic. Everyone is expecting the bare minimum, right? People are expecting na, you know what? Okay, Raman, kanang you don't have to do much because it's a pandemic. But for us, no. We have to exceed. And these are the kinds of expectations that we defied. First, a lot of people said it's normal to lay people off in a pandemic. And I agree. It makes sense. It makes business sense to lay people off during the pandemic. But again, we're super grounded with our values of teamwork and our love for the team. And so kami sa management, when we're meeting, we said that, you know what, it's a no-no. We can never let go of our people and we have to look for ways to earn revenue, to continue paying them and not have to cut off their salaries. And because of continually building and breaking, we're creating new companies, we're able to retain all our employees, added 18 new ones even, and even increased some of the salaries and gave bonuses during Christmas. So what I'm trying to say here is that even if the world expects you that it's normal to lay people off, if kaya nga dili, look for ways not to be able to do it because we're grounded by our purpose, we're grounded by our core, and that sets our direction. We go back to there. It's not part of our mindset to lay people off, so we never did that. Expectation number 2, it's okay to stop producing shows now. Mingon sila nga, you know what, pwede naman nga dili mo-produce og show ang by TV because kasabot ramang gid mi nga kana dili na mo kaadtog studio mao na. But then we realize again, we have a mission. We know that the Cebuanos and the Bisaya market need to be entertained right now. And so that became our inspiration to continually produce shows. And because we were always producing shows, we were able to continue paying our talents, our creators, and we even grew our audience. So can you imagine if we conform to the expectation nga dili lang ta, then we never would have earned, we never would have grown our audience. So we continue to exceed the expectations of everyone. The next expectation that we defied is that you don't need to exert so much effort for your team. Again, a lot of people were telling us nga, Bay, Bri, di naman mo kailangan maningkamot og maayo for your team. You're able to retain them, nasa sweldo, enough na yun na, kadaghan din ng trabaho. But you know what, if there are things that you can do, if you can step out of your comfort zone to make your team feel appreciated, especially when you cannot be with them in the times that they need you, then do it. So I would tell you guys, mas grabe ka busy ang among team karon during the pandemic compared to when we were still together. And we know how hard they have worked and what is a little effort to make them feel better. So during Christmas, on top of giving them their 13th month pay and being able to give them a 2-week leave, a 2-week vacation, we literally drove from Balamban to Argao to Compostela to personally deliver their Noche Buena packages. So as you can see, this was in Balamban, this was in Argao. And you can see the comments and their feedback, it's priceless. The team deserves our effort. The team deserves the love and care that we're giving them. So when the rest of the world expects you nga, ayaw lang, di mo kailangan mag-exert of effort, do more and you will experience more from your team as well. Because again, at the end of the day, they deserve it. And then lastly, expectation. We don't need to do BICON this year. To completely understand that you don't need to mount this event because you know it's a pandemic, okay ra gid na. But then if you know what, if we did not mount BICON Infest, we felt manggod na marag the internet or the digital space is the only space where people could share, the only space where people could express themselves. Daghan kayong mugamit og internet for the wrong reasons. Spreading fake news, hating on each other, canceling each other out. And so we told ourselves, we need to mount BICON Infest, use creators and influencers to spread the responsible use of social media. And so we did. And so we were able to do that. And because we defied the expectation, we mounted the biggest gathering of creators and influencers in the Philippines. 2019, it was 72. 2020, 108. And we even earned from the event. So again, Always exceed expectations. Why do we keep exceeding expectations? Nga nung decide man me to exceed expectations? Because everybody else was getting used to okay lang. Okay lang. Di man may mag-expect, oh grabe kayo, okay raman na. Okay lang yun, kasabot na may. It's a pandemic, we understand. But the question is, can okay lang create an impact? No. Okay lang will not create an impact in the pandemic. Okay lang will not bring in revenue, and okay lang will not help us fulfill our mission. So guys, in the midst of a crisis, everybody expects less of you. But for you to be able to win and truly create an impact in this pandemic, defy expectations, never settle for okay lang, and give your best in everything that you do. And lastly, the mindset that we carried out during the pandemic that made us win is that social media is a perfect vehicle for social good. It is a global pandemic after all, and people are suffering all over the world, whether you're a medical frontliner, someone whose mom passed away because of COVID, or someone who lost their job. There is a great need for social good right now, and it must be carried out in whatever that you do in the company. You might be wondering, ano social media man? Social media, does it really create an impact? Facebook raman na, TikTok raman na. Yeah, I agree. Maybe it might not be an impact as great as being able to donate millions and millions to the medical frontliners. But you know what? In this pandemic, all kinds of efforts will create an impact. But for you to be able to truly create an impact, you have to find your team or your company's strength and use it to drive social good. So for my team, of course, we are in digital advertising. Our strength is always going to be social media marketing and content creation. And so we created different campaigns, or it became our anchor in being able to push for social good, to use digital platforms and social media. So what are the different things we did? So first, we created Barugbay. It's a series of influencer-led educational inspiring videos about COVID-19. So we gathered different creators and influencers to spread positivity during the pandemic. So this is one of the few videos that we created. Let me show it to you.
Hi mga bay, kamusta? I know the past few weeks have been very challenging. Lisod no nga, wala kay bago sa may tabang na coming days. O sa kakahibaw if it will get better or hangtod asa ni kutub tanan. Pero one thing is for sure, bahalag swa ka o daisyo, kahibaw ko nga nahandlo ka.
And we're here to tell you nga, normal na gid na. Normal na gid na imong tanan na feel. Kalaay, kamingaw, kalisod, kahadlok, kanak tanan normal na gid na, yung valid ra gid na siya tanan.
Og tinuod na dili gid ta makatangkan sa kung unsay mahitabo sa mga sumusunod nga adlaw. Mao nang we are encouraging you to live every day to the fullest, mga sis and obs. Bahalag lisod kay baw ko nga naara gyud mga butang nga angay natong ikapasalamat. Sama sa oras nga gigahin ako sa akong pamilya. Sus, lahi ka jud ang luto sa akong papa kada adlaw. Bahala nagmanambok mi kay dami jud ikaon. Mga kabuang na mga igsuon. We do chores together, we work out together. Ug syempre, ang mga kasaba ni Mama kada adlaw, alimugmug kay sa dunggan, pero therapeutic kay sa dunggan. Mapasalamaton ko anak tanan ng assist and works.
Sama sa akong ka-perfect, akong kagwapa, akong kaanya, ug akong kahayag na pirmi akong makita sa akong salamin kada bulan. Salamat Ginoo. #self-love. Dapat kita nga thankful sa atong selves, kay kung di na ito malove atong kaugalingon, di kita ka-love sa uban. Ug karong panahon na, sakto gid ang quote na, sometimes all you need is love.
Ako, thankful kay ko sa time that I get to spend with Paulo. Kay bahala ba feeling ko, love gihapon ko niya. Na-prove good aning ang quarantine. Pero nalipog po rin guys. Every other day.
Malipayan po magtanaw sa mga pamilya kung amiga na nasa internet po except sa kanang mga spread of fake news ha. Kay maski dili ko makita sila personally, #pagpuyo sa balay bayle karon. At least dili kay kumingaw na balay. Mao nang hala. Ay dili ko na mo post sa mga lami na ipangluto ako. Mapasalamatan ko ay.
Sus, tungod sa home quarantine, napundagin ko eh. Maunang wala ko'y gawas-gawas para magpalit og milk tea, mag-grocery, mag-date-date, o unsa pa na diha. Maunang mapasalamaton kayo ko sa mga gapadayong gyapon o trabaho aron safe ni sa among mga panimalay. Grab food, Food Panda, Angkas, Lalamove, ug daghan pa. Kuya, ate, kamo ang mga tunay, kamo ang akong mga idol. Salamat sa inyong serbisyo. Sa mga negosyo nga gapadayon gyapon og deliver, sa atong pulis, sa atong guards, ug sa atong mga sales ladies. Thank you sa inyong padayong pagsakripisyo.
And lastly, sa itong medical frontliners, doctors, nurses, pharmacists, medtechs, ug uban pang medical and healthcare workers, nakita na mo ang inyong sakripisyo. Nakita na mo ang inyong pagtabang, nakita na mo ang inyong kaisog. Kamu ang modern day heroes karon. Kay ba nga usahay, gikapoy na mo, nahadlok mo, naguol mo, labi nagdi inyo makita ang inyong mga pamilya karon panahon na. Unta, makahibaw mo nga dako ka, pasalamat ka ninyo. Hinaot tagaan mo, upadahing usog na matubang ani na krisis. Ug sa mga panahong mawagtangan mo og kusog, ug kapuyan mo, hinungdon nila nga kami sa mga panimalay, nagpadayon og cheer kaninyo. Ug kung mahumanan itanan, dili na mo kalimtan ang inyong serbisyo ug ang inyong sakripisyo.
Lisod man ang panahon karon, di nato kalimtan nga daghan pang mga butang nga angay natong ikapasalamat. Mga Bisaya, kaya ni nato. Padayon ta og ampo. Padayon ta magpasalamat.
Salamat.
Salamat.
Salamat!
Salamat.
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 Salamat, bay. Padayon ta.
Okay, so those were one of the that was just one of the videos that we put up during the pandemic. So it basically we really wanted to use influencers and creators in spreading a good message. So apart from that, we also created different materials. We created this radio jingle. You probably heard of this, to encourage Visayas to stay at home.
Kuyo sa balay, paminaw mga bay, sa fetish maglikay, aron dilitang mo aray. Ang COVID, tira sakit sa dato, isakit sa mantama, kaapekto ni kanato. Kuyo sa balay, paminaw mga bay.
So it's a very familiar tune. It's Budots, and it was kay pag COVID manggod, I think it was in April or May, a lot of people who did not have access to information about COVID thought nga ang COVID pang dato ora na, di sila ma-COVID kay mga dato ora ma-COVID, or ang ma-COVID kay maayo ang COVID o mukhaon kag itlog or mukhaon kag garlic. So there were a lot of misconceptions about COVID. And so to be able to reach that market, katong mga wala access to the internet and information, we played radio jingles and made TikTok videos nga kani ang music to be able to educate them that the COVID is not kanang dili ra siya sakit sa dato. So kailangan gyud ninyo siya seryosohon. So yes, we were able to create radio ads, videos, and of course Bicon Infest that we created, so we would be able to spread the responsible use of social media, especially during a crisis. And we have seen tweets like this: the power of influence. They need our help. That lies within us. Let's help and unite them. Let's use social media responsibly. We're able to gather engagement that you see on my screen right now and views. And apart from that, we're also able to raise funds even for the Philippine Public School Teachers Association, because diba, when we went back to school, daghan kita mga public teachers nga walay headphones, walay laptops, walay tarong na microphones to be able to teach their students. And so because we believe that teachers are the biggest influencers in the country, they literally shape the future and influence the students, we provided them with 300 digital teaching kits to be able to help them. So we were able to raise funds because of Bicon. So again, use your strength. Look for your strength as a company. Sa amua, it's social media. And look for ways to be able to use that strength to drive social good. So in summary, these are the different kinds of mindsets that made us win during the pandemic. Number one, again, your core is your compass. Use it to guide your direction. You are able to determine your core by answering the questions, why do we exist and what are our values? Second is, again, while the rest of the world expects okay lang, deliver to do more. Do more of what is expected from you, even if you are allowed to do less. And lastly, social media is the perfect vehicle for social good. So again, look for your strengths and use it to help you in this crisis. At the end of the day, guys, the thing that you have to think about when you are faced with a crisis is that a crisis is the perfect spotlight for your team's core and culture. Everybody's eyes are going to be on you within the crisis. It literally makes or breaks you. And when you are in the middle of a spotlight, you have two choices. Choice number one, will you perform or will you leave? Perato ganina, face everything and rise, or forget everything and run. So you have two choices when you're in a crisis. The spotlight is in you or is it on you? Will you leave or will you perform? For us in RGC, the mindset was perform and create an impact. And that is why we won in 2020. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, mga bay. Hopefully, you were able to learn something from me and my team today. Panun ka, amping kanunay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Vardoni, for giving your valuable insights on marketing breakthrough. Fright to fight. Before we start our open forum, we would have a short intermission number from the group. Wait. Wait now. Wait for a while.
I can go. Today I got a million, tomorrow I don't know. Stop claiming what you own. Don't think about a show. We all playing the same game, waiting on alone. We're unknown and known, special and gone. Hate will make you cautious, love will make you glow. Make me feel the warmth, make me feel the cold. It's raining in the story, it's raining in the walls. This is our call, we're rising and fall. Dancing in the moonlight, we all have it all. Decision as I go, to anywhere I flow. Sometimes I believe, at times I'm rushing low. I can fly high, I can go low. Today I got a million, tomorrow I don't know. Make me feel the warmth, make me feel the cold. It's raining in the story, it's raining in the walls. This is our call, we're rising and fall. Dancing in the moonlight, we all have it all.
Oh, hello. Thank you. I'm sure you've learned a lot and have hear me. I'm sure you've learned a lot and have a lot of questions that need to be answered. So at this point, we'll go ahead and take some time for questions. If you have any questions, please use the chat box or you can PM us. The meeting is now open for sharing. Oh, looks like we have one here. Wait. Our first question, why do some companies remove people rather than find or create ways to retain them? Shouldn't be their existing strategies for unforeseen circumstances that may affect the business's performance? Or does it depend on that type of business? Question from
Hi, Chris. Hello.
From Laika.
From Laika.
Hi, Chris. I'm so sorry, but I need you to repeat what you just said
Sure.
because medyo naagid kay feedback.
Here's the question. Why do some companies... Why do some...
I see it in the chat box.
Chat
So I'll
box.
read it from the chat box na lang. Is it okay?
Okay, sure.
Sige, kay medyo na kay feedback. Guys, formal kaayo mo. Nanauwaw ko, kadili ko formal nga person, but sige. Why do some companies remove people rather than find ways to create ways to retain them? Shouldn't be their existing strategies for unforeseen circumstances that may affect business performance, or does it depend on the type of business? So number one, believe me when I say that a lot of business leaders and business owners have been looking for ways to be able to retain their employees. No business owner will be comfortable with letting anyone go, honestly. So kanang as much as possible, hunahunaan ninyo nga before a business decides to lay people off, there were so many meetings, there were so many things and factors that had to be considered before they made that painful decision. So that's what I would want to clear out. No business owner or business leader would ever want to let go of his or her employee, right? So your question is, should there be existing strategies for unforeseen circumstances? I'm pretty sure that companies are preparing or have prepared different strategies for situations that would entail them to cut costs. So basically, for you to be able to let go of people, it's basically because you're cutting costs. But if you are faced with something as big as a COVID-19 crisis nga wala gini mo giandaman, wala gid ka nagplano nga mahitabo nino, kanang literally all the plans and strategies in place will be changing, right? So I guess it's a combination of the situation, how grave is the situation for you to be able to make that decision to let people go. But at the same time, you're correct, it also dependent on the type of business that you have. So let's say kami, we're just blessed because we are in the digital industry, and the digital industry is thriving and relevant in the pandemic. But imagine if you are a hotel, if you're a restaurant, if you are a resort, if you work as an airline FA. So those are industries heavily affected by the pandemic. And so because revenue is not coming in the company, because of course dili ka lupad ang airplane, dili mo abli, then wala agad kay masweldo sa imuhang mga tao. So there are strategies to be able to retain them. So you could repurpose your employee. Probably FA ka before, karon kay on-ground staff na ka, waiter ka before, but karon post na ka sa social media. But then at the end of the day, kung dili gid makaya sa company, then they would have to eventually let go of some people. So that is just the bitter reality. But I'm gonna end this answer na parang no business owner and business leader would ever want to let go of their employees. Believe me when I say nga, it's a very, very painful decision to make, to let go. So it's very dependent on the type of business you're in and the gravity of the situation that we are in today. So I hope I was able to answer your question like that.
Next question is from John Carl Diaz. He's asking, Miss, do you accept interns in your company?
Yes, we do. Message me lang, bea@rgc.world.
Meron pa? Meron bea@rgc.world. Okay. Any more questions? None?
Guys, you're not gonna ask me questions. Formal kaayo mo. Anyway. You.
Go.
Now, this is the awarding of certificates to our guest speaker and attendees. Given this 5th day of May, to our Dean, Dr. Edgar R. Itoya, CPA of the USJR School of Business and Management. Guests, Classmates, friends, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present our virtual certificates. First, to our guest of honor and speaker, Ms. Beatrice Claudine Alfar Everton. Allow me to read the citation of the Certificate of Appreciation. University of San Jose, Recoletos, School of Business, Management and Marketing, Human Resource Development and Management Department presents this Certificate of Appreciation to Ms. Beatrice Claudine Alfar Verdon for unselfishly sharing her knowledge and expertise as the honor resource speaker on the webinar entitled Converting the Organization into Fearless Warriors During Times of Crisis with the theme Marketing Breakthrough from Fright to Fight. Given this 5th day of May 2021. Ms. Hazel Kabahar, webinar organizer and coordinator. Mr. Kim Ninyu G. Candero, MBA, DPA candidate, advisor, special topics in marketing. Dr. Ava Lou Perez, LPT, department chair. Dr. Edgar R. Ditoya, CPA, Dean, School of Business and Management.
Thank
From,
you.
Thank you, Miss.
From the bottom of our hearts, please accept our appreciation for the life-changing talk you gave this evening. We are so blessed with your presence and inspired by your story. Finally, let me read to you the citation of the Certificate of Attendance for all participants for tonight's webinar. Certificate of Participation to Ms. Valuable Action Speaker of Virtual Training, Marketing Breakthrough, Fright to Fight, Converting Your Organization into Fearless Warriors During Times of Crisis. Given this 5th day of May 2021, Beatrice Claudine Alfar Verdon, resource speaker, Mr. Kim Ninyo Cantero, MBA candidate, seminar advisor, university research and instructor, School of Business and Management, Tourism and Hospitality Management Department, University of San Jose. Dr. Ava Perez, Chairman, Marketing and Human Resource Management. Dr. Edgar R. Ditoya, CPA, Dean, School of Business and Management. Finally, your active participation is overwhelming. We cannot thank you enough for spending your time with us. We pray that you will always be safe.
On behalf of Patrick Sampson, may I request Ms. Kabahar for the closing remarks?
Thank you for that, Mr. Dabao. Good evening once again, everyone. It is my honor to give these closing words of our series of webinar, Marketing Breakthrough, Fight to Fight, Converting Your Organization into Fearless Warriors During Times of Crisis. I do believe that all the participants agree that we have an information overload, to which we can all say that we learn much from the talk. On behalf of my team, it's my pleasure to thank our resource speaker, Ms. Beatrice Everidoni, for sharing her thoughts comprehensively. And to everyone who attended this webinar, thank you for this opportunity of listening to our person of authority in the field of marketing, as well as your presence for sharing your time with us. To our dearest teacher, Mr. Cantero, Kim Nino, for your expertise and willingness to share it with us. Also for giving us this opportunity of host this kind of event. I hope this webinar addressed all of you, all the major concerns about the world of marketing. And of course, may greatest thanks to our Heavenly Father for the guidance and the success of this meaningful event. Kudos to the organizers and to my team. Yeah, you're awesome, guys. Nakuha na jud nato. Once again, good evening and adelante.
Thank you, Ms. Kabahar. As we end the seminar, we may now have our closing prayer.
Dear God, thank you for the time you have given us. Thank you for giving us the chance or giving us the pleasure to speak proudly. Help us know to carry the learnings and experience actions. We thank you for your guidance to accomplish this meeting successfully. May you bless us and protect us with your holy will. Oh, this we pray in his mighty name, our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Before we will officially end our seminar, we would like everyone to turn on their camera for us to take a group photo as a remembrance for this webinar.
Turn on, guys. Thank you.
Smile. On.
Three.
Audio. Thank you guys for joining. It's good.
So at this juncture, um, this is now the time to officially end the seminar. I hope that you've learned a lot from our resource speaker. This is Kabahar Hazel. And
This is Christian Davao.
good evening, God bless, and adelante. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Sir
Adelante. Thank you
Kim.
guys.
Thank you, Miss Bia.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Meron ba? Paano mag-kick? Hindi pwede. Ah, shit. Hello?
Ako sa pang removed ang mga kan.
Muna nga yun sila. Diba?
Sige.
Ina. Fuck.
Okay.
Ang malas natin.